Falcons, the Dolphins, the Panthers, and apparently the Raiders have as well. Jesus Christ. The Falcons, the Dolphins, the Panthers, and the Raiders apparently have all come out to say that, once the Ravens place that non-exclusive franchise tag on Lamar, that they're out on him. What say you, Germ? Do you smell collusion? Do you know what collusion means?
I do. And honestly, to me, it's not textbook collusion, but it's funny. I do that. It's something that looks like collusion, or it's distributing the traits of collusion, I should say. It may not be outward collusion, but it's displaying traits of collusion. And I understand it from an NFL owner standpoint. I'm very much pro player. I get that. But what Lamar Jackson is doing is a product of what the Browns foolishly did for Deshaun Watson.
100%.
The owners cannot allow that to happen. I mean, my God, that setting that precedent would nuke free agency, nuke the quarterback market.
Yeah.
It's
yeah, bro.
It's such a, from Lamar's standpoint, I mean, if you can't get it if you don't ask for it. However,
and that's why I'm not pissed at him. You're only going to get paid like this one time.
Right.
That's 100%. Why I wasn't on Zeke's ass when he was holding out. Like, especially a running back, you're only, and people like to make the running back jokes, you're only going to get paid one huge time in your career. Twice, maybe, if you're like extra lucky. I don't even know if Mahomes will ever see another contract like he did his first time around. And he could go down as the greatest of all time,
If Lamar had a little bit better postseason success, I would back him a little bit more.
He'd be signed.
This is 2 years. It would be easy. Now, let's not forget, Ravens already offered him like 140 or 160 guaranteed at the beginning of the season, or a contract, and he didn't take it. He wanted more. He wants that 230, and he did it to himself. And what happened? So if he would have taken that money, he still would have gotten hurt. He still would have missed the playoffs. He still would have had an abysmal December, January record. I think he's only won 1 out of 12 games in December and January in his career. It's so, I don't want to do this woe is me, Lamar. I get it that they haven't given you much help, but you're an MVP, dog. Like, I'm in the results business, not the excuse making business. You want to be the big dog, go for it. Ask for your money, but don't also get upset when a team doesn't want to pay you your money. Go to a different team then. You don't like it? Go to the XFL. Go to the USFL. You don't have to play for the Ravens.
Damn.
It's true, though. It's, I get that. But people want to foolishly compare like a Daniel Jones contract to Lamar's situation. It's you're only worth what somebody is willing to pay you. Okay.
Yeah. Things are only worth what people are willing to buy them for.
I'm not going to blame Daniel Jones for taking a contract that his team offered him. Has nothing to do with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson has nothing to do with Daniel Jones.
Right.
This is how Baltimore is choosing to do business. That's not Daniel Jones's fault. I keep looking on Twitter and all these people like, oh, look what Daniel Jones got. Richard Sherman had a ridiculous tweet. Oh, how come Lamar Jackson couldn't get because Lamar Jackson doesn't play for the Giants, dog. Like, I don't, what do you want me to say? That's Baltimore. It's true. And so Baltimore, nobody is giving $230 million guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Lamar. Only the Cleveland Browns are stupid enough to do it.
That was a desperate move from a desperate franchise. And I've 100%. Said people are on my ass. I've said I was very nice about it. If Deshaun does not take them to at least one Super Bowl, it's a bad contract. I wanted to say take them to 2 and win at least one, but I feel like that's asking a lot from the Browns. Deshaun's still very young. Yeah. It has the potential to go down as the worst contract in NFL history if something does not come from that. If I'm a fan, I'm not accepting AFC championships. I'm not. If I just paid my quarterback that money, I am not accepting title games. I want to be in the Super Bowl.
This year he'll get a pass because he's taken the 2-year layoff, but Cleveland better start doing some real winning.
I'm on his ass this year, to be honest with you.
I mean, it's well, he doesn't deserve any benefit of the doubt just because of his off-field stuff. But I guess I can cut you a little slack because you did have 2 years off. So this is the year, dog. Like now you've had a full off season with your team. It's time to get it going. But in terms of Lamar, you're not doing any real winning. You have to. Only the Browns are stupid enough to do it. And reports come out that the Browns are already trying to restructure that deal. So
Hell
it's like 2 Super Bowls and win one. Michael, I agree with you. Bryce Harper in baseball had a similar situation. They gave him that 13-year contract, and the first 2 years, a year and a half didn't go so well. But look what happened, man. They went to the World Series the other year. Sometimes things take time.
Oh, yeah.
But Bryce, I mean, football is a lot different than baseball. You don't want to set that precedent that these players, these quarterbacks, who, one, can get in trouble off the field, two, have injury concerns, especially near the postseason, are taking $200 million plus guaranteed money to do what? Right. So you have to understand it from an owner's perspective. I feel like both can happen. I feel like it's a smart business move, and then I also feel bad for Lamar, as I feel like you don't have to choose sides here.
Yeah. Yeah. For anyone that doesn't know what collusion is people are basically saying that teams and GMs are conspiring together to not have Lamar get a bigger or more guaranteed bag than Deshaun Watson did, $230 million. Absolutely stupid. Like Lamar, said that he's wanted. But, and if people are kind of wondering, oh, has this ever happened in the league? People might not agree, but basically what happened with Kaepernick, how he never essentially got a shot again because of his times taking the knee. And I'm not here to get political, but it's just kind of an example I feel like we can all relate to, right? And when people are like, oh, collusion, I agree it's a business move. Like, you do at some point have to set a standard in the league. When stuff is essentially getting out of hand, like that's why suspensions happen. That's why discipline happens. That's why fines happen. And this isn't one of those things. And you know what? Also, at one point I was like, is it kind of like like I said at the beginning, kind of like a crying fest for Lamar? I don't think so. Yeah. I don't think he's worth, $230 million guaranteed. I don't know if anybody is, right? Yeah. Like you're saying you're getting paid every dollar fully guaranteed. That's a lot to take in. But when, you look at the Falcons, right, they were second in the league in cap space, and it was down to them and the Saints last year for Deshaun Watson. And while I don't think it would be worth it for either team to bring Lamar over, and I'm just going to be very brash, I think the Michael Vick comps are the only reason people are freaking out about Lamar coming to Atlanta. I don't think they have the offense to actually be great. He could go there and win 7 or 8 games. Get on my ass if you want, but I don't see Lamar just turning that team around, poorly ran in the front office, not great coaching. Like, I don't need to go any further. It just doesn't make sense. And they have the money in terms of, the whole, why are they backing out? It is weird, right? Because they have the money. They were just in on Deshaun Watson last year with the Saints, and they need a quarterback very bad. Speaking of the Panthers, I had this on the notes, before they traded up, but they're 19th in cap space. They only have $11 million available. The defense has talent and promise, but the offense isn't really that good looking on paper for Lamar. So I can see why they're out, although they were in on the Watson sweepstakes as well, but they clearly just told the whole NFL, hey, we're going for probably CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. They take Anthony Richardson. They're idiots. He's a freak in nature, but I just don't think he should go to Carolina. Obviously, I talked about the Dolphins before. The Dolphins said earlier they were all in on searching for a quarterback, but how can you be all in while being out on Lamar Jackson, arguably the biggest free agent on the market right now?
Right.
Like that just it's kind of like when the Ravens and Costa was like, oh, our goal is to build this long-term franchise with Lamar for the years to come. Really? Like, it's just word salad, man. Say what you mean to mean what you say. Go ahead.
The Dolphins specifically, they just didn't want to give up any of their talent. They just wanted to add. Right. And I think a lot of that does have to do, they picked up Tua's 5th-year option. So they're going to ride with Tua and give him a chance. That was today. That was like literally
I saw a short
before.
And I was like, I feel like this was a while ago.
Well, you know why? Because this happened right before the Panthers trade came out and just dominated. Like, it was like something that, like, it happened and then the Panthers thing came out.
Oh God, and then, that has to be on the next show. That's a domino.
Yeah. So I think they're at 1 year. Again, I don't know what the Dolphins have in terms of trade capital, but you pick up the 5th-year option on Tua, you're definitely going to give him a chance to prove it, because I think they did like what they saw at the beginning before he started getting concussions every game. Hopefully, apparently he's good to go. He's going to play and go through offseason and all that good stuff. So we'll see if Tua is the guy this year. If you do believe that, then it makes sense that they'd be out on Lamar, because why give up all the good stuff they've accumulated for Tua for Lamar when you think Tua could be the guy, because it looked really good at the beginning of last season. He was an MVP candidate. Christopher says the players didn't want the salary cap that the owners did. I mean,
do you remember that back in 2010 when it was like an uncapped year and they were getting whacked for it? And it's like, so you want me to act like there's a budget when there's not?
Yeah.
Good example there, Chris.
It is a good example, but you also got to remember, like, not everybody's Jerry Jones in the NFL. You know what I mean? The Packers are a publicly owned company, so there has to be a cap because you don't want a New York Yankees situation. You don't want a LA Dodgers situation because then you're not, nobody's going to go play in Detroit. Nobody's going to go play in Green Bay. Nobody's going to go play in some of these fledgling, some of these, in the Clevelands of the world. You know what I mean? Like everybody's just going to go to LA or one of the Florida teams.
Right. And kind of speaking about the Dolphins some more, I really do think with the right quarterback, this team could contend with a Super Bowl because of the offensive power. Like you have the 2 fastest players in the league. You put Lamar over there. He's immediately got a wide receiver 1, it feels like, and a wide receiver 2, something it feels like really outside of Mark Andrews and a little bit of Hollywood Brown with the inconsistency. He never really had that, right? They have just shy of 30 million in cap space, which is 9th in the NFL. And then of course, the Raiders, again, they have an offense, Waller, Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, but like, if I'm a quarterback in today's NFL, I am going to drool over your offense, but is your defense at least in like the top 13, 14, like you got to have something. And that's not a thing with the Raiders, there was just another team we were talking about, but they didn't really have, the Falcons. They don't really have a defense either. Like, yes, they can run the ball well. And that seems kind of sexy for Lamar to come over because the Ravens run the ball really well and very creatively, but I wouldn't see the toolage, the same matching up and everything. Not the Falcons. There's no defense with the Raiders. There's no offense with the Panthers. And then the Dolphins would have been the best without question, but now they just picked up Tua's 5th year.